Good morning, students. This is the third lecture of proton NMR spectroscopy. We are going to discuss about the factors affecting the chemical shift value. The chemical shift topic is covered in the yesterday's class. Now let us discuss what are the factors that are influencing the absorption frequency of protons present in the sample molecule. There are 3 or 4 factors included in your syllabus. According to your syllabus, the first factor, shielding and de-shielding effect. This is the first factor influencing the absorption frequency of the protons of a sample molecule, that is shielding and de-shielding effect. Now, a spin active nuclei, due to its spin around the vertical axis along with the electron cloud associated with it, it generated certain amount of its own magnetic field known as either secondary magnetic field or either induced magnetic field. The magnetic field is generated exactly the bottom center of the nuclei and travel along the nuclei and entered at exactly top center of the nuclei. That is, whatever the magnetic field that generated by the spinning nuclei is traveled from bottom center of the nuclei to the top along the nuclei and re-entered into the center. That can be represented as, say, this is the spinning nuclei, where the nuclei, when spun around its vertical axis, whatever the charge associated or electron cloud associated get also spun. So this spinning resulted certain amount of secondary magnetic field or induced magnetic field. Now you can see, as a nuclei when spun around its vertical axis, it generated secondary magnetic field from bottom center of the nuclei and traveled along the nuclei and immediately entered into top center of the nuclei. This is the traveling. Now similarly, around the nuclei it travels like this. So it generated from bottom center and traveled and entered into top center. So around the nuclei, the secondary magnetic field will be traveled by the process of circulation. Now its direction can be represented like this. This is the traveling direction. This is traveling direction. Further, this is secondary magnetic field. Secondary magnetic field. Secondary magnetic field. It may also called as induced magnetic field. Induced magnetic field. So whatever the magnetic field generated by the spinning nuclei, depending upon its direction of traveling, it is considered as a two types. That is, the secondary magnetic field, where its direction is exactly opposite with respect to direction of applied magnetic field. Say this is the direction of applied magnetic field. Direction of applied magnetic field. Now the secondary magnetic field, where its direction, traveling direction, is exactly opposite to the direction of external magnetic field, this is considered as diamagnetic field. Diamagnetic field. Diamagnetic. Diamagnetic field. Similarly, the secondary magnetic field, where its direction is aligned with respect to the direction of external or applied magnetic field. You can see the direction of secondary magnetic field and the direction of applied magnetic field will be the same. Whereas here the direction of secondary magnetic field and direction of external magnetic field is quite opposite. Now this is called as diamagnetic field. If the magnetic field aligned to that of the magnetic field of external magnetic field direction called as paramagnetic field. This is paramagnetic. This is paramagnetic field. Is it clear? Now you can observe in the diagram the secondary magnetic field is exactly diamagnetic at the center of spinning nuclei. At the center of, say, if we can take a center of nuclei like this. Now you can observe the secondary magnetic field produced by spinning nuclei is diamagnetic, where at exactly center of nuclei, and the secondary magnetic field is paramagnetic at outside the nuclei. So the magnetic field produced by the spinning nuclei could be considered as two types. One is diamagnetic, other one is paramagnetic. What is diamagnetic? The secondary magnetic field direction where it exactly opposes to that of the direction of applied magnetic field is a diamagnetic. Similarly, the secondary magnetic field where its direction is exactly similar or aligned to that of the direction of magnetic field which we are applied is called as paramagnetic field. Further, the secondary magnetic field is diamagnetic exactly center of the nuclei, whereas it is paramagnetic at outside the nuclei. Is it clear? Now this is the center of nuclei where we can observe there is a diamagnetic field. At outside the spinning nuclei you can observe a paramagnetic field. Is it clear? Further, if any protons of a molecule, if situated in the diamagnetic field, say this is proton. If a protons of a molecule are situated in the diamagnetic field where there is a opposing effect is more between the secondary magnetic field and to that of the applied magnetic field. Are you following? If a protons of a molecules are situated in the diamagnetic zone or region where there is a maximum opposing effect between the secondary magnetic field and to that of external magnetic field, so that the protons of diamagnetic zone are a proton situated in the diamagnetic zone whose degenerated energy state is split into energy level by the larger difference, like this. Say this is delta E. The energy splitting for a degenerated energy state will be larger. That is, the proton which are situated under the diamagnetic zone, their energy state is split into energy level by the larger difference. Therefore, those protons for their spin transition require more energy and hence absorbed energy at higher frequency value. And then the signals are appear at lower delta value. Those signals are called as upfield signals. So now you can see when the energy difference is maximum or more between the energy levels of spinning nuclei, for their spin transition they require higher energy, and therefore these kind of protons absorbed energy at higher frequency values and their signals are appear at lower delta values. lower delta values like this. This is 0.0, say this is 10.0. When the proton absorbed higher frequency, the signals appear at a lower delta value. These signals are called as upfield signals. Upfield signals. The protons whose signals are appeared at lower delta value are called as shielded protons. That is the proton in which the energy state is split into larger difference. Those protons are called as shielded protons. Where the diamagnetic field is also called as shielding zone. That is the protons of diamagnetic or the protons of shielding zone absorbed energy at higher frequency values. Those protons are called as shielded protons, and their signals are appear at lower delta value known as upfield signals. Is it clear? Now coming to other. If a proton situated under the paramagnetic field, a proton is situated under paramagnetic field where there is a minimum opposing effect between the secondary magnetic field to that of the external magnetic field, as these two magnetic fields are traveled towards the same direction. Therefore, the opposing effect is less. That is, a proton, if situated in the paramagnetic region or field, where there is a opposing effect is less. Therefore, their degenerated energy state is split into energy level, but by smaller difference like this. Smaller difference like this. You can see in the first case there is a difference is large. In the next one, the energy difference between the two energy levels of a spinning nuclei is a smaller one. So such protons, for their spin transitions, require lower energy and hence absorbed energy at lower frequency values, and hence the signals appear at higher delta values. Those proton signals are appear at higher delta value, as the protons of paramagnetic zone, where the energy difference between the two energy level of such proton is less, hence require lower energy, therefore absorbed energy at low frequency value. When energy absorbed at low frequency value, the signals are appear at higher delta value. Such signals are called as downfield signals. Downfield signals. The protons which are situated under paramagnetic zone are called as deshielded protons. Deshielded protons, and the zone, paramagnetic zone, is also referred as deshielding zone. So in brief, so depending upon the situation of a proton, may be under diamagnetism or may be under paramagnetism. The same proton, if situated under diamagnetic field, where its signal is appear at upfield value, whereas the same proton, if situated under paramagnetism, that is deshielding zone, where its signals are appear at downfield values. So the absorption frequency depends upon the shielding and the deshielding effect. So this is about shielding and deshielding effect. Let us discuss the second factor which affected the delta values of protons. second factor is effect of electronegativity or inductive effect. Second one, electronegativity effect. Or inductive effect. Electronegativity effect or inductive effect, that is the effect in a molecule which involved traveling of the whole electron density of the molecule towards only one direction, that is towards more electronegative atom. Inductive effect is nothing but it involved electron density traveling from the whole molecule towards only one direction, that is towards more electronegative atom. Now this effect is uniform in all the directions of a molecule. This effect is uniform in all the directions of the molecule, as well as it is also uniform in all orientations of the molecule. Nothing but the inductive effect does not depends upon the orientation of the molecule. In whatever the orientation, the effect will be constant or effect will be the same. Again, inductive effect involved transfer of electron density from whole molecule towards more electronegative atom. Further, this effect is uniform throughout the molecule and does not depends upon orientation. For example, you take methyl fluoride. Methyl fluoride. Now this is the first orientation where you can see the electron movement is towards fluorine, as it is more electronegative when compared with all other atoms. Similarly, now you can see the inductive effect of fluorine is equal through carbon and this hydrogen, or through this carbon, this hydrogen, or through this carbon and this hydrogen. Whatever the inductive effect exhibited by the fluorine atom, it is equal through this carbon hydrogen and this carbon hydrogen and this carbon hydrogen. The effect is equal in all directions. Now if you change the orientation, we have considered the first orientation. If we change the orientation, let us see what happens. This is the second orientation. Again, the electron movement is towards fluorine, towards carbon here, towards carbon here. Now you can observe the inductive effect exhibited by fluorine is again equal between carbon hydrogen, between this carbon hydrogen, between this carbon hydrogen. Is it clear? There is no difference in the inductive effect as changing the orientation from one orientation to the other orientation. You can take other orientation. Third one, fluorine here, carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen. Now you can see electron movement is again towards fluorine. Now you can study, this is third orientation. Let us observe the inductive effect of fluorine is again equal with respect to this bond, with respect to this bond, and also with respect to this bond. Is it clear? Now on changing the orientation, there is no change in the inductive effect. What it indicated? Inductive effect is equal in all the direction and uniform in all orientations. The effect is the same in the first orientation or second orientation or third orientation. Therefore, The inductive effect is also called as isotropic effect. Isotropic effect, where iso stands for same, tropic stands for orientation. Tropic stands for orientation. The effect is same in all orientation, same orientation. Hence it is called as isotropic effect. Is it clear? Now, let us discuss what happened due to the inductive effect. The inductive effect always decrease the electron density around the protons. Just now we discussed where the electron density of whole molecule is moving towards more electronegative atom. That means the inductive effect decrease the electron density around the protons of sample molecule. Therefore, when the proton electron density is decreased, what happens? The proton degenerated energy state is split into energy level by smaller difference. Due to the decreasing electron density, the protons absorbed energy at a lower frequency value and the signals appear at higher delta values. Are you following? So the inductive effect, what causes? It decreases the electron density around the protons. When electron density around the proton is decreased, their energy state is split into energy level by smaller difference, and hence the protons with lower electron density absorbed energy at low frequency value. The signals are appear at higher delta value. That is, the inductive effect always shift the proton delta value towards downfield values. Towards downfield. What is downfield? A signal at higher delta value are downfield. A signal at lower delta values are upfield signals. So inductive effect causes always to be shifted the proton absorption frequency towards downfield, that is higher delta value. Is it clear? Next, further, how much downfield? So now we are discussing about always downfield due to inductive effect. How much? The extent of downfield shift of proton frequencies depends upon electronegativity of adjacent atom. Are you following? Inductive effect always shifted proton frequencies towards downfield value, that is towards higher delta value. To what extent? The extent of downfield shift of protons depends upon the electronegativity of adjacent atom. If the adjacent atom belongs to more electronegative, the downfield shift of proton is more. If the adjacently attached atom belongs to low electronegative, then the downfield shift of the proton is less. Are you following? So the extent of downfield shift always depends upon electronegativity of the adjacent atom, where if the adjacent atom belongs to more electronegative, the downfield shift is more. If it is less electronegative, the downfield, but it is less downfield. Example, you can take a CH3 group if attached by one carbon. Similarly, the CH3 group, the same group, if attached by nitrogen. The same group if attached by oxygen. Are you following? Starting from carbon to nitrogen to oxygen. Now these are the adjacent atom with respect to CH3 group. From carbon to oxygen, the electronegativity of atom increases. This is increasing order. Electronegativity of carbon is less when compared with nitrogen, when compared with oxygen. Is it clear? Now coming to what we are discussed. as increasing electronegativity, the delta values are also increases. That is, the CH3 in the first example, signal appear at 0.9 ppm, delta is equal to 0.9 ppm. The same CH3 group, when attached by nitrogen, it appear with 2.4 ppm. The same CH3 group, when attached by oxygen, it absorbed energy at 3.6 ppm. You can observe the effect of electronegativity. You can see, as increasing electronegativity, the delta values are also increases, 0.9 to 2.4 and 3.6. What happens when electronegativity increases? The electron density around the CH3 proton is further decreases. As increasing electronegativity of adjacent atom, electron density around the CH3 protons are further decreases. As decreasing electron density around the proton, they absorbed energy at lower frequency value, and hence the signals are appear at higher delta value. 0.9 is the lower delta value, 3.6 is the higher delta value. Is it clear? So this is about inductive or electronegativity effect. In brief, the delta values of a protons in a molecule is directly proportional to electronegativity. Directly proportional to electronegativity of adjacent atom. What it reflect? As increasing electronegativity of adjacent atom, the delta values are also increases. This is the relation. Delta value increases with increasing electronegativity of adjacent atom. Is it clear? Low electronegative, lower delta value. High electronegative atom if attached adjacently, then the proton signal appear at higher delta value. This is the relation. Electronegativity is directly proportional to the delta value. Is it clear? So this is about inductive effect or electronegativity effect. Let us discuss the third effect. The third effect, anisotropic effect. Anisotropic effect. Now, according to the relation which we are studied, that is, delta is directly proportional to electronegativity. Now, according to this relation, as we studied just now, increasing electronegativity of adjacent atom, the proton delta values are increases. Is it clear? So according to this relation, in a series of sp3, sp2 and sp hybridized carbon, sp3, sp2, sp hybridized carbon, this is the series of hybridized carbons. sp3 hybridized carbon, sp2 hybridized carbon and sp hybridized carbon. We know the electronegativity of sp hybridized carbon is more when compared with electronegativity of sp2. More electronegative. Now sp2 is less electronegative. Are you following? So sp hybridized carbon belongs to more electronegative when compared to the carbon of sp2 hybridized, that is less electronegative. Therefore, the protons attached by sp hybridized carbon. Therefore, the protons attached by sp hybridized carbon to be appear at higher delta value, that is low frequency value, or at higher delta value. Are you following? Similarly, the protons attached by sp2 hybridized carbon, where electronegativity is somewhat less when compared to sp hybridized carbon. Therefore, the protons attached by sp2 carbons to be appear at low delta value. Are you following? According to the relation what we are discussed, delta is directly proportional to electronegativity. So coming to sp hybridized carbon, which is more electronegative, therefore we would expect the protons attached by more electronegative carbon, that is sp hybridized, to be appear at higher delta value. Whereas the proton of the sp2 carbon is less electronegative, therefore the protons attached by sp2 hybridized carbon to be appear at lower delta value. Is it clear? According to this relation, the protons of this carbon to be appear at higher delta value, the protons of sp2 carbon appear at lower delta value. But practically, the protons attached by sp hybridized carbon appear at lower delta value, whereas the protons attached by sp2 hybridized carbon appear at higher delta value. This is quite reverse. High delta value. So with respect to this relation, the sp hybridized proton, the protons of sp hybridized carbon to be appear at higher delta value, sp2 to be appear at lower delta value. But practically, when we recorded, the protons attached by sp hybridized carbon appear at lower delta value, whereas the sp2 hybridized carbon, the proton delta values are appear at higher delta value. That is, practically it is quite reverse with respect to electronegativity effect. So this is abnormality which we observed here. The proton delta values are not appearing according to or with respect to electronegativity here, not in the first case. That is, this abnormality or abnormal behavior explained is so called as anisotropic effect. This effect depends upon the orientation of the molecule. This effect depends upon the orientation of the molecule. That is, the effect is different from one orientation to the other orientation of the molecule. One orientation to other orientation of the molecule. Now this effect is the anisotropic effect is an effect depending upon the orientation of the molecule. The effect is different from one orientation to other orientation. That is, this effect is different. This effect is very, very important for the absorption frequency of protons of unsaturated hydrocarbon and aromatic hydrocarbons. That is, the absorption frequency values of unsaturated hydrocarbons like alkenes, alkynes, etc., and also aromatic hydrocarbons, whatever the compounds with aromatic in nature. The absorption frequencies are depends upon their orientation but not electronegativity. Is it clear? That is, the protons of unsaturated hydrocarbon, protons of aromatic hydrocarbon, their delta values do not affected by electronegativity, but it is affected by their orientations. In brief, the electronegativity effect is important for saturated hydrocarbons. That is, the delta value of a protons of saturated hydrocarbon depends upon only electronegativity, whereas the delta values of protons of unsaturated hydrocarbon, aromatic hydrocarbons are depends upon anisotropic effect, where aniso stands for, aniso means different, tropic stands for orientation. The effect is different in different orientation, hence it is called as anisotropic effect. Let us discuss the effect in different type of compounds. Now first one, anisotropic effect. In alkene, anisotropic effect in alkene. Now we know alkene where the two carbons are sp2 hybridized. Say you consider as ethylene. Example as ethylene. CH2 double bond CH2, where the alkene group consists of the two carbons of sp2 hybridized. sp2. Both carbons are sp2 hybridized, hence its geometry is a planar. A planar. A planar. Now, before applying external magnetic field, before the application of external magnetic field, the alkene or ethylene is oriented randomly like this. Like this. So it is a planar molecule because the two carbons are sp2. Now before applying external magnetic field to the molecule may be randomly oriented. Once we apply external magnetic field, say this is ethylene. Now once when we apply external magnetic field, because of its planar nature, the alkene group or alkene is oriented in plane. In plane. This is external magnetic field application. Application of external magnetic field. When we apply external magnetic field to the molecule, this magnetic field will induce to be circulate the pi electron cloud of alkene above the plane and below the plane. Above the plane and below the plane, perpendicular direction with respect to external magnetic field, or 90-degree angle with respect to external magnetic field. Is it clear? That is, a alkene, because of its planar nature, when we apply certain amount of external magnetic field to it, this external magnetic field will induce the two pi electrons of alkene group to be circulate above the plane of ethylene, below the plane of ethylene. This is circulating electron cloud. Now, the circulating electron cloud result above and below the plane of ethylene resulted the production of secondary magnetic field from bottom center of the molecule. From bottom center of the molecule in this way. When the pi electron clouds are circulated above and below the plane, it generated certain amount of secondary magnetic field from bottom center of the molecule and travel along the molecule and entered into top center. In the same way, now this is secondary magnetic field. This is secondary magnetic field. So due to the circulating pi electron cloud, certain amount of secondary magnetic field is generated in this way. Is it clear? Now you can observe its traveling direction. Now its traveling direction is opposite here, and aligned here. Now you can observe the secondary magnetic field, whatever produced from bottom center of the molecule, it is the traveling direction. Now let us classify. The secondary magnetic field is exactly diamagnetic, where the center of two carbons. Now you can divide the two carbon centers in this way. Now you can observe between the two carbons, this is the area between the two carbons, the secondary magnetic field is diamagnetic. What is diamagnetic? Where its traveling direction is opposite with respect to H0. This is diamagnetic. Diamagnetic. It is also called as shielding zone. It is also called as shielding zone. Similarly, at outside the two carbons, at the center of two carbons, the secondary field is dia. At outside that carbons, two carbons, the secondary magnetic field is paramagnetic. This is paramagnetic. This is paramagnetic. It is also referred as de-shielding zone. It is also referred as de-shielding zone. You can observe. So this is about anisotropic effect of ethylene. Now you can observe all the protons of ethylene group 1, 2, 3, 4. All the protons of ethylene groups are situated under paramagnetic zone. The diamagnetism is lying exactly only these two carbon centers. At outside the two carbons, the secondary magnetic field is paramagnetic, where the four protons of alkene groups are lying under paramagnetic zone or de-shielding zone. Therefore, the protons of alkene groups appear at downfield value or absorbed energy at low frequency, and signals appear at higher delta value, high delta value. De-shielded protons. Once again, because of situating the protons of alkene under paramagnetic zone, alkene protons are de-shielded. What is de-shielded? Energy state is separated into energy level by smaller difference. This is called as de-shielding. If it is larger difference, called as shielding. So the protons, because of presence under the paramagnetic zone, all ethylene or alkene protons are de-shielded, and hence their signals appear at higher delta value. So this is about anisotropic effect in alkene. Is it clear? Now, according to electronegativity, what we observed, the protons of sp2 hybridized carbon, that is say alkene carbon, to be appear at lower delta value because this carbon is low electronegative. But the electronegativity effect is not applicable for unsaturated hydrocarbon. That is, the delta values are not depends upon the electronegativity of sp2 carbon, but the delta values of protons are depends upon their situation, their orientation. As the protons are oriented under paramagnetism, hence de-shielded, higher delta values are appeared. Is it clear? Let us discuss another example. Now anisotropic effect. In alkyne. Anisotropic effect in alkyne. Let us take one example, say acetylene. Acetylene as the example for alkyne study. Now, in alkyne, where the alkyne carbon both are sp hybridized, this is acetylene, sp hybridized carbon, both carbons are sp hybridized carbon, hence the molecular geometry is linear geometry. Linear geometry. Once external magnetic field is applied to the alkyne, because of its linearity, the molecule is oriented in a vertical manner or vertically oriented. Say this is hydrogen, a carbon, this is carbon and hydrogen. External magnetic field H0. Now you see, once H0 is applied, a alkyne is oriented as vertically oriented. Now you can observe the difference, where in the case of alkene, the molecule is oriented in plane like this. The molecule is oriented in this way, whereas in the case of alkyne, the molecule is oriented vertically. That is, a planar molecule always oriented in plane, a linear molecule always oriented linearly or vertically. A planar molecule under planar orientation, circulating the electron cloud is somewhat easy, whereas the linear molecule oriented if under vertical fashion or vertical manner, again the circulation of electron cloud is easy. Are you following? A planar molecule always oriented in plane, a linear molecule always oriented vertically, because a planar molecule under planar orientation, circulation of electron cloud is easy. A linear molecule under vertical orientation, the electron cloud circulation is easy. Therefore, the molecules are accordingly oriented. Now coming to alkyne. A alkyne is a linear and hence oriented vertically. Once a H0 is applied, then the external magnetic field, whatever we applied, can induce the pi electrons of alkyne to be circulate around the vertical axis. This is circulating pi electron cloud around the vertical axis about 90 degrees with respect to the direction of external magnetic field, or the circulation of electron cloud is exactly perpendicular with respect to the direction of external magnetic field, can causes the production of secondary magnetic field from center of vertical axis. This is the secondary magnetic field produced when the pi electron cloud is circulated perpendicular with respect to external magnetic field. You can observe the secondary magnetic field is diamagnetic here, and it is paramagnetic here. It is paramagnetic, diamagnetic. This is the direction of traveling. Secondary magnetic field is generated. It is the direction of its travel. Now secondary magnetic field is exactly diamagnetic here, where its direction and the direction of H0 is opposite. Similarly, the secondary magnetic field is dia here, with respect to H0. That is, in case of alkyne, the secondary magnetic field produced by the circulating electron cloud is diamagnetic on a vertical axis. It is a diamagnetic on a vertical axis. At outside the vertical axis, the secondary magnetic field is para. This is diamagnetic. Or shielding zone. Diamagnetic or shielding zone. At outside the vertical axis, you observe it is paramagnetic. Paramagnetic or de-shielding zone. De-shielding zone. So circulating the pi electron cloud around the vertical axis generated a secondary magnetic field which is diamagnetic at exactly on vertical axis, and outside the vertical axis the secondary magnetic field is para. Now you observe, in case of alkyne, the alkyne protons are situated under or lying under diamagnetic zone. The two alkyne protons are lying on a vertical axis where the secondary magnetic field is diamagnetic. That is, the two protons are lying under shielding zone, diamagnetic zone or shielding zone. Therefore, the alkyne protons are shielded and hence their signals appear at lower delta value. Are you following? In case of alkene, the protons are lying under paramagnetism, therefore de-shielded. In case of alkyne, the protons are lying under diamagnetism, therefore shielded. Alkene protons appear at higher delta value, alkyne protons appear at lower delta value because of shielding. These protons are shielded and appear at lower delta value. Therefore appear at lower delta value. Now you can observe between the two molecules, alkene and alkyne. What happens? Under planar orientation, the proton delta values are downfield. Under vertical orientation, the proton delta values are upfield. Means the delta values of protons are depends upon the orientations of a molecule, not a electronegativity. Because of its dependency on orientation, this effect is called as anisotropic effect. Under planar orientation, in one way the absorption frequencies are appeared. Under vertical orientation, the absorption frequencies are different. Hence it is called as anisotropic effect. Is it clear? Let us discuss taking some other example, anisotropic effect in benzene or aromatic hydrocarbons. Now benzene. Anisotropic effect in aromatic hydrocarbon. You can consider a simple aromatic hydrocarbon is a benzene. Now, where the benzene consisting of 6 carbons, all are sp2 hybridized. All are sp2 carbons. All are sp2 carbons. Hence, its geometry is planar. Hence, the geometry of benzene is planar. Now, when external magnetic field is applied to the benzene ring is oriented in plane. Benzene ring is oriented in plane like this. One hydrogen here, one hydrogen here, hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen. This is external magnetic field. Now, so a benzene is a planar molecule. Hence, when we apply external magnetic field to the benzene, it oriented in plane. It consists of 6 pi electrons. In case of benzene, the number of pi electrons are more. That is 6 pi electrons. The external magnetic field application will induce the 6 pi electrons of benzene ring to be circulate above the benzene and below the benzene plane, like this. Now here, the 6 pi electrons of benzene will induced by H0 to be circulate above the plane and below the plane of benzene to produce a secondary magnetic field. To produce a secondary magnetic field. Now in case of aromatic hydrocarbons, where the number of pi electrons involved in the circulation is more, therefore it produced, such kind of molecules produced huge amount of secondary magnetic field. Now you compare with ethylene or alkene, where in case of alkene only 2 pi electrons are involved in the circulating pi electron cloud above the plane, below the plane of alkene to produce secondary magnetic field. Whereas in case of benzene, 6 pi electrons are contributed in the circulation of pi electron cloud above the benzene plane, below the benzene plane to produce secondary magnetic field in huge amount, or excess secondary magnetic field is produced. When 2 pi electrons are involved in the circulation, it produced lesser amount of secondary magnetic field, whereas number of electrons increased its involvement in the circulating pi electron cloud, the amount of the extent of secondary magnetic field is also increases. That is, in case of benzene, more amount or large amount of secondary magnetic field is generated, hence it is called as ring current. Ring current. The second, it is a secondary magnetic field where its amount is large, it is considered to be as ring current. Now you can see the direction of secondary magnetic field like this at outside. Now whatever it may be, you can see the secondary magnetic field is produced at exactly center of the benzene ring and traveled along the benzene ring and entered on top center. This is the way of generating secondary magnetic field. Now you can observe, it is called a secondary magnetic field. We could consider as ring current for aromatic hydrocarbons. Now the ring current is diamagnetic. Ring current is diamagnetic at exactly center of the benzene ring. This is diamagnetic. Ring current is diamagnetic at exactly center of benzene ring. You can consider this as a benzene ring. When the 6 pi electrons are circulated above the benzene ring and below the benzene ring, which produced the secondary magnetic field like this. The secondary magnetic field is generated bottom center of the benzene ring and traveled and entered into top center. Now you can observe its direction is opposite at the bottom center and top center. Bottom center it is opposite and top center it is also opposite. That is, the ring current is exactly diamagnetic. The ring current is diamagnetic at exactly center of the benzene ring. Inside the benzene ring, the ring current is diamagnetic. At outside the benzene ring, at outside the benzene ring, the ring current is paramagnetic. Paramagnetic or de-shielding. Here it is shielding. that is at the center of benzene ring or inside the ring current is diamagnetic, that is shielding. At outside the ring of the benzene, the ring current is paramagnetic, that is de-shielding. Is it clear? Now, further, all the 6 protons, you can observe, all the 6 protons are attached to the benzene ring, which are lying under paramagnetic field, because all the protons are lying at outside the benzene ring. Just now we discussed, inside the benzene ring there is a diamagnetism, outside the benzene ring it is a paramagnetism. So protons attached at outside the benzene ring means all the 6 protons of benzene are lying under paramagnetic zone or a paramagnetic field. Therefore, the protons of benzene or aromatic hydrocarbons are also de-shielded. Why de-shielded? Because they are lying under paramagnetic field or de-shielding zone. The protons of benzene are de-shielded. De-shielded, that is more de-shielded. So because of paramagnetic effect, all benzene protons are more de-shielded, and hence the signals appear at higher delta value. Higher delta value. Is it clear? So this is about anisotropic effect of benzene. Now when we compare an alkene with a benzene or aromatic hydrocarbons, in alkene the 2 carbons are sp2, the geometry is planar. In aromatic hydrocarbon or benzene, again the carbons are sp2 and the geometries are planar. In both cases the geometries are planar, and in both cases the protons are situated under paramagnetism. In case of alkene, the protons are lying under paramagnetic zone. Again in case of benzene, again the protons are lying under paramagnetic zone. But in both cases protons are lying under paramagnetic zone, but the alkene protons are de-shielded, whereas aromatic hydrocarbon or benzene protons are more de-shielded. In both cases de-shielded. Alkene protons are de-shielded and benzene protons are also de-shielded. But in the first instance, the protons are less de-shielded but less de-shielded. But in case of benzene, the protons are de-shielded but more de-shielded. Are you following? Both are sp2, both are planar. In both cases, the protons are lying under paramagnetism. In both the cases, the protons are de-shielded. But in the alkene, in case of alkene, the protons are less de-shielded. But in case of aromatic or benzene, the protons are more de-shielded. Why? Because in case of alkene, the paramagnetism is less, because only 2 pi electrons are involved in the circulation. Hence the extent of secondary magnetic field for alkene is less. Paramagnetism is less. Therefore de-shielded but less de-shielded. But in case of benzene, the paramagnetic effect, the extent of secondary magnetic field is more, and then paramagnetic field is also more. Therefore it exhibited maximum effect on proton delta value, hence more de-shielded. As in case of benzene, the number of pi electrons involved in the circulation to be produced the secondary magnetic field under huge amount is more, that is 6 pi electrons. Therefore more de-shielded. So benzene protons are more de-shielded, whereas alkene protons are less de-shielded. So this is about anisotropic effect. We will discuss some more examples in the next class, that is anisotropic effect in aldehyde, anisotropic effect in anilines, etc. compounds. With this, I conclude or complete my today's lecture. Thank you very much.